Hey, it's that time of the week again, folks. Yep, Kamen Rider Zeztz episode 7 is here. And man, this is a good one. So let's just jump right into it. So this episode began off with just like a nice little recap and picking up where the last episode left off with the same mission, escape with all the prisoners. But now, the prison is fully awoken. So that's gonna be a problem. But we really don't get much time to focus on it as, the president's running with Nim. So he's just like, what the hell, dude? I thought we were about to be out of here. And Mr. Nightmare appears calling Zeztz by 7, which is unique so far in the show. He's only called them Zeztz. So to me, it weirdly feels like maybe there was a previous Zeztz. I mean, obviously there probably has to be other agents like 6, 2, and so on if there's a 7. So, bit of theory fodder for y'all out there. And he hits him with the classic superhero, nah, buddy. You cannot save everybody, and you're deluding yourself if you think you can. And then he hits Zeztz with this badass line just saying, and you'll remember your own bad dreams soon enough. Like, hold up. This leads to so many implications. Mainly that, what would it be Baku's bad dream? Because we kind of really haven't seen it. Because the first bad dream was kind of technically Nim's. Here in episode 2 was episodes 2 and 3 was a detective, 4 and 5 was a bride. Now here 6 and episode 7 were the president. But he's like, I ain't playing around, so he immediately puts that shit on and goes back into machinery form. Where, hey, look at that. He is using the power of machinery really damn well. This is such a creative use of machinery's power that I did not expect. So, yeah. Also, completely busted. He could just upgrade his weapons using machinery. Like, he can just do this. No explanation. But after defeating the 2 little guard monster thingies, he grabs the president's wife and is like, yeah, we need to get out of here. But she can't run for long. She's old, she's tired, and she just can't keep up. So he's like, you know what? I'll leave you here with the sensor, and I'll come back if God forbid something bad happens. So just stay put. And so he starts running through the hallway, and they have this really cool sequence where it's the same hallway set, or more accurately stairs set, but the numbers keep changing. So he's going up floors, and they start doing this really cool thing where the numbers start spinning. So he goes all the way up to level 40 before waking up in a cold sweat, which is insane. Zeztz never wakes up like this. So clearly this dream kind of rattled him. And after that we get the intro where he's looking so polite in bed. But back to the actual episode at hand, we get a nice bit of Zero just kind of chilling, which we haven't really seen yet. We've seen it, but it's just been a hot minute because we were focusing on the bride and stuff, and the detectives are so heavily involved in the bride thing on the Zeztz end that Zero just couldn't really hang out. And in case I haven't said already, this is episode 7, Punish. But Zero explains that this mission is going to be really difficult because, unlike in the past where Zeztz has just kind of been able to stumble upon the inner doors of the mind, here it's not going to be so easy because they're trapped inside the prison. So he's going to have to figure out how to do this without any clues of what the true nightmare that will awaken and open the doors will be. But as the detectives come in, Zero just kind of goes back to his bike form. And man, I forgot how much I like the look of the bike. It's just like a really good shot. So it's like, hey, good morning, guys. They start kind of countering the case, and they kind of try to go back over and figure out why exactly he'd be dreaming of this bad thing. We know it was an accident, but Baku doesn't know that. And so the female officer takes some time to kind of mess with the dude detective. And he's like, hey, hold on now. I was only partially wrong. And then he brings up the accident. And Baku, like previously mentioned, does not know. Because even though we, as an audience, found out, Baku is still in the dream world. And they haven't talked since then. Because it's a direct continuation. Which means he's about to be rattled. And as it turns out, 4 years ago, there was a bus crash. And the only passengers on the bus were the president and Nem. And after a crash like that, if she's not outright dead, it's a career-ending accident. And Baku's just like, no, she's not dead. No, she's still in ads and stuff. And the female detective's like, it could be CGI. It could just be old archival stuff that they're re-editing. And Baku's like, but she's there in the dreams. She has her own thoughts and feelings. I'm not controlling her. And he's like, and the male detective's like, but have you ever seen her in real life? And he just can't accept the fact that Nem might be dead. So back in the real world, outside in the real world, Baku decides, you know what? Let me go confront the president. And so he brings his sister along. They kind of fight for a little bit, which gets the attention of the president. And I find it cute that the sister's like, no, you ain't like, you're trying to get a job here so you can get close to them, buddy. You're not slick. But the president's like, hey, don't fight. What do y'all need? So the sister introduces herself, and I got this wrong. Last week, I thought she was working for this guy. No, she's just a talent agency that happened to be partnering with his company, Look at that. I've been proven wrong. But Baku kind of cuts off his own sister rather rudely. Just like, hey, yo, I'm code number 7, dog. What the hell is going on? And do you remember me from the dream? Which is kind of crazy. I just didn't think he'd be so willing to kind of drop the secret in front of his sister. But okay, you know what? Sure. And to Baku's shock, the president does indeed remember him from the dream. But to the president's shock, Baku is nothing like he is in the dream world. So inside we see more of that little shrine dedicated to Nem, as Baku still cannot accept the fact that, like, okay, she's like in a serious critical condition. And so the president starts explaining what happened 4 years ago. They were on a bus, and suddenly a truck driver, presumably maybe had fallen asleep at the wheel or something, crashes into them. And he was not able to save Nem because she was right on the side of the bus that got hit. This is a really heavy episode. And so he covered it up because he could not let the tabloids get wind of Nem being in serious condition. And he even put her in a special hospital that was closed off from the public. But on top of all this already bad situation, she disappeared. And he decides that it's best to just look for her in private. And Baku's clearly upset. Why would he hide this? There are people that can help. And he's like, I couldn't do that. Nem is not just my child. She means a lot of things to many people. And so, by telling them that she's gone or dead would destroy the public, and he just could not let Japan go through that. But looking back on it, maybe now he was just too afraid to come to his senses and make peace with the fact that Nim is gone. And Baku, who similarly is not ready to sit there and say that she's gone. And the president, feeling a little better, thinks to himself, even now Nim is still finding a way to meet good people. So he meets up back with the detectives to kind of figure out what to do next with this case. As maybe looking for her would finally be a way to give a sense of closure to the people that loved her. But Baku's still holding out hope that she's alive. And they're like, but the possibility is low. And Baku's like, but it's not zero. And that just hit me in the feels. He's making a strong contender. I love this character so far. I'm loving Baku. I'm loving his motivations. And I love this. He's like, the president spent years suffering alone, not knowing if Nim is alive or dead, which is why this nightmare is now occurring. And he swears that he's going to save the president from this awful dream. That's my go, dude. Ooh. So, back in the dream world, he immediately gets to business. Nim stops the president like, hey, buddy, we might want to go back for Mom. But seeing as they're at the roof, maybe now they can escape. But, much like the rest of the facility, the roof is closed off. And on top of that, they got attacked. And Mr. Nightmare appears telling him, hey, you failed to save Nim last time. What if you died instead and she got to live? Here's your chance to make it come true. Kill that thing. And all will be right in the world. And so he tried, only to get his ass whooped, and Baku comes in, like, hey, whoa, chill out now. If you do that, the nightmare will take over your body and harm so many people. But Mr. Nightmare's like, well, what if that's what he wants? If his dream doesn't come true, how could he live with that reality that he failed Nim not once, twice? And Baku, I cannot understand how much I love this. It's just like, nuh-uh, I'm not letting this happen. And he apologizes to Nim, explaining that now he realizes why she got so upset. And Nim's like, no, let me apologize, because I just did not know everything, and she doesn't even know where she is in the real world, or if she's even still alive. Which, this episode is jam-packed with a lot of really heavy emotional moments. And Baku, like, just the hero he is, it's like, even though you disappeared, I have faith that you're out there alive in the real world. And so, he gives himself his own mission to find Nim himself. Before I start getting all giddy and excited, let's finish up the episode recap. So, feeling happy on the inside, and now the nightmare controlling him less, Baku is ready to wake everyone up from this terrible dream. But Mr. Nightmare's like, bro, this is a prison to death. You cannot escape. And so he creates 5 extra little guards to try and stop Baku. So he's like, hey, y'all need to get out the way so I can handle this. And we get some nice out-of-suit action, which I love. I love it when characters fight outside of their like suits, just because it's rare, and it kind of gives credence to the idea that it's the same dude both in and out of suit. And so he states his mission as it's time to transform. And I gotta say, I like this one more than I think I like the regular transformation. The transformation for Zetz's impact, he like kind of wipes some drool off his lip, which is cool. It fits with the dream aesthetic. But here, I don't know, this just looks cooler to me. It's a bit more dynamic in my opinion. And so he transforms into Kamen Rider Zeztz projection form. Or more accurately, the full title is Kamen Rider Zeztz Technolam projection. But yeah. And once again, this show just has such a beautiful directing. And the main thing that sets projection apart is it has this little arm sleeve, which maybe it's just me, but like older Kamen Rider fans, does this not remind you of Kamen Rider Beast with his mantles from Wizard? Because that's all I could think of when I saw this. Was like, I think it's like Kamen Rider Beast. So one thing I like is that compared to other sort of like illusionists out there, Zeztz is actually kind of able to kick ass, which is awesome. I love that he's not just kind of completely physically crippled by using the projectionist form. He could still dish out some ass whoopings. So he summons his weapon and starts putting work in on these guys. And I also find it really cool that projection is not just illusions, but physically alter his surroundings as he's able to create portals, turn himself into a little data stream. Once again, feels like another reference, this time to Kamen Rider Akiva. Like, there was one episode where Akiva, like, jumped up on, like, a little bar and was, like, hanging upside down like a bat as he fought. And I'm like, this image from Zeztz kind of looks like that, too. I don't know, I think it's cool. But as Zeztz finishes packing up all the guards, his phone starts ringing. As it turns out, the wife's in trouble because the bottom floors of the prison are slowly collapsing in on themselves. And so Nim tries to go save her, but even still, the dream version of the president isn't ready to just let her go. He's like, no, you need to stay with me. I'm trying to save you. And on top of all that, more of these old guards appear. But Zeztz is like, nah, we're all getting out of here. He said if the prison itself is a nightmare, then its weak spot has to be its brain. And he uses the power of projection to create multiple copies of himself. The only thing I like is that there is actually a difference between the projection copies and main Zeztz. Zeztz obviously has the driver, but all the little illusion forms have a sash that is distinctly not the driver. So it's a nice, easy way to tell who's real Zeztz and who's just an illusion made by the projection capsule. It's like, I can't save them by myself. I'm only so limited. But I can save them like this. So he takes to the sky and to finish off the monster. And, like, they never really touched on it, but projection kind of weirdly has the ability to fly, which makes it more useful than wing. But whatever. It must just be a thing with a dream. Or maybe it's using Stream's power of controlling air, because, like, Stream is a base. I don't really know. They're kind of iffy on the powers, but I can forgive it. Dream world, not real world, so. He cranks up that finishing move. And one thing I like is that the clones also get to use a finisher. And yeah, that's badass. So he starts packing up the monster with 1, 2, and 3, creating the Triple Z. With the mission being complete, monster appears, and now it's time to make up. The president apologizes to his wife, and the wife forgives him, explaining that she knew protecting Nim is really important to him. As Baku and Nim watch on in the distance, she thanks him. But Mr. Nightmare Man can't leave the episode without saying some cryptic shit. So he's just like, one day you'll learn the price of having these powers. And we see as the butterfly escapes from the president out into the world. So that at least we get a nice little explanation on how exactly other people get infected by the nightmares. And he wakes up wondering if that really was a dream. But in the real world, Baku's like, nah, it's not a dream. And he says, I will continue to follow my promise to you. And he says, I'll wait with hope that one day Nim will return, as we see his little shrine has shrunken down into a much more normal family photo collection you might see in an office. As Baku wishes and hopes that the president no longer has bad dreams. Oh, but we're not done yet. There's still like 4 more minutes. So you know some cryptic shit's about to happen. Ben, as he sits down and tells a person to continue guiding the bad dreams. And come to find out, it's Nim. And the episode ends with a preview for next week, where the mission is destroy the biological weapon. And, spoilers. If you don't want spoilers for next week, skip on like 10 seconds ahead. All you really need to know next week is that it's about a chef. There's a biological weapon, and Zeztz will debut his green form. So, yeah. Now, on to my review. As I've been stating throughout this entire episode, I loved it. It was so good. Oh. I just... It takes Baku, a character I already love, and just made him so freaking cool. They packed so many emotions in here, and I love that. What I kind of find cool is that this is episode 7 of the series. Baku is code number 7. You know, he's agent number 7. So, in order to commemorate that, hold on, let me go back so I can get the right image for this. You know, like, crazy shit was gonna happen because this is the 7th episode. And with him being number 7, it's nice that this was the episode where he takes initiative and gives himself his own mission. I didn't think they'd do that. I thought he would stick solely to the missions that Zero assigns him. But here, Baku's actually like taking initiative. That's something we really don't see from writers. Like, they don't really, if ever, stray far outside their original goal. Like, yeah, Aruto's whole goal is to make AI and like humanity friends and stuff in 0-1. But like beyond that, he really doesn't do much. Like, almost all of his actions throughout the show are just getting closer to that goal. From what I remember, Build, he's fighting for love and peace. And basically that's all he does. Like, he doesn't do anything outside of that. I mean, he does get like light revenge. That's about it. Like, from most of the Kamen Rider I've watched, they tend to stick solely to their mission. And when they do deviate, it happens in like episode like 40 out of like 50. Here, he's actually kind of doing his own thing and deviating in the first 10 episodes, which is, and this guy is, he's such a great main character. To me, this definitely feels like it's going to become sort of like Ben 10, where Baku may not have been the intended user for the Zeztz driver, but he was unequivocally the best choice for it. And I really hope that's something they do. I really hope they make something like that where there's another user of Zeztz at one point or another, and that Baku, because of who he is as a person and how he works, that he was the best choice all along. And I hope they do something like that, because that'd make me love this guy even more. And of course, it's episode 7. And of course, because I kind of forgot where I was going for a second. And also, we get some nice little theory fodder. I need to scroll like 15 images back, but where is it? Oh, almost there. Yeah, here, this line, like, chock full of theory fodder. To me, yeah, this reads almost like he's going to be responsible for Baku having a berserker form maybe around episode 15 or so. So far, episode 8 is probably going to be the debut of the green form. Episode 9 will likely have debuts for the like additional armaments like machinery and wing, but again, a green form. Episodes like 10 and 11 will be that, but for the purple form. And so by episode 15, it'd feel good to get like the sort of berserker rage form. Yeah. And also, we do know that a second rider is coming for Zeztz. And by now, most Reiwa shows tend to actually have their second appear right about now. The only one that didn't really have their second debut, like, prior to episode 10 was Chard. And that's because Majade, the proper second rider, appeared in, like, episode 20. But ever since, like, episode 3, they had Valvrod, like, before he was a Kamen Rider, when he was a pseudo-rider, so kind of, like, only half counts. But with that being said, though, I enjoyed this episode. This episode is a 10 out of 10. It was just good across the board. The story, the action, the acting, all of it. Perfect 10 out of 10. So yeah, there's not much I can really say other than how much I love this episode. So, yeah. Let me know what you thought down below. If you enjoyed this episode, if you thought this episode was just kind of meh, or if you have some other opinion on it. All are free to be expressed down below. And I will see you all next week as we cover Kamen Rider Zeztz, episode 8, Serve.